Hey everybody, it's Charlie and Alyssa from Daily Motor, and for the last year and a half, Alyssa has been daily driving our 2023 Chevrolet Bolt EUV Premier. We purchased this back in the summer of 2023 and planned on it being Alyssa's daily driver for the foreseeable future. We got some very competitive tax credit offers, both federally and state here in California. Purchased it for about $32,000 roughly. And we even got the color Alyssa wanted, pretty much all the features. All that it's missing is the Sun and Sound package and Super Cruise. But we've been happy with it for a year and a half. However, due to competitive offers from Chevy, as well as a little incentive from Costco, it ended up making more sense to lease a new Equinox EV as opposed to hold on to our Bolt EUV. So it's been about a week or so since we picked up the Equinox here from Guaranty Chevy in Santa Ana, California. And Alyssa and I are going to give you some of our impressions over kind of owning the Bolt for a year and a half and then switching to the Equinox EV. Now, a few things right off the bat. If you do want to see more on the Bolt EUV in general, check the link below. We've got some of our ownership updates. I'll have them linked in the playlist. And then another thing to note, while these are fairly apples to apples when it comes to feature set, it was something that Alyssa did. She didn't want to necessarily step down from any features, so we ended up trying to line up kind of the packaging. I don't want to make this seem like it's an apples to apples comparison on cost, because the MSRP for this Bolt Premier was about $32,000. The MSRP for the Equinox EV LT with the convenience package 2 is about $48,000. However, we are leasing this for about $140 a month. And if you do want to see more of a dedicated breakdown on how that cost came to be, again, check the link below. We're going to have more of a dedicated review on the Equinox EV and our ownership experiences and a video breaking down how that lease offer became so competitive. So understanding that they're not exactly apples to apples directly from cost, we're going to go through and kind of give you a little bit of an informed analysis of our thoughts on Equinox to Bolt. Starting off, Alyssa, you insisted upon the ice blue for your Bolt EUV. There were a few different fun color choices, but I agree this is one of the most striking. But looking at both of these cars now, I know there were some colors you didn't care much for with the Equinox and some you didn't care much for the Bolt, but in general, what do you think about the styling compared between them? You're more of a visual person than I am.
I mean, overall, the styling is quite similar. They're both a more of a rounded egg shape kind of car. It's just the Equinox is a bigger car. So I feel like the step above from styling is really just not that much. It's just, I got a bigger car, you know? Yeah. I really do picture them as the Equinox just being the older brother.
Yeah, I mean, they do kind of have the similar sort of squinty LED line for the DRLs up top and then the actual headlights below. You pointed out when we saw the Bolt when we were pulling up, it looks like it has winged eyeliner.
It does.
This little black plastic
piece. 100% does, especially from far away.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. It's
from a driving standpoint, however, from the driver's seat, in the Bolt, you very much feel like you command the whole space and you can see very much around you in the perimeters. And you can estimate where your car ends and begins. The Equinox is way more difficult. You are in this space here and you have to surmise much more differently.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll certainly see that from behind the wheel.
Yeah.
They both have flush mounted roof rails if you want to put roof racks on there. The normal Bolt EV does not get that, but the Bolt EUV and the Equinox both get that. And then you can tell from the wheelbases here, the Bolt, like you said, is just a smaller car.
Yeah.
I don't mind the looks of either of them.
I don't either.
I personally find the Equinox slightly more attractive. Obviously, you're not going to see the lines the same way with the black car versus the ice blue.
Right.
One thing I did notice that I much prefer about the Equinox over the Bolt is that the turn signals on the Bolt, for some reason, are way down here. And I've never appreciated that from a safety standpoint, because I feel like people are going to expect to see your turn signals here, and then they happen way down there. Same with the reverse lights all the way down at the bottom. And then on the Equinox, it's more conventional, more like a normal car. So I feel more comfortable with you driving the Equinox around knowing that the headlights, or rather the tail lights and the turn signals are way up on the top.
In a more traditional position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Equinox really isn't any taller than the Bolt, is it?
It's really not.
Similar heights, but yeah, you can really just tell I mean, the length of both the doors and kind of the cargo area.
Yeah.
So let's start taking a look at the cargo area on both. Actually, let's start with the Bolt.
I think it's starting, yeah, I agree.
Now, we, if you haven't figured out, have little baby coming along the way here. And we figured we could probably get away with having the Bolt EUV as our one-child car. So we weren't super concerned because, I mean, it is larger than the normal Bolt, and it is enough room back here. We've done some pretty hefty cargo trips, or Costco trips, and a camping trip. You've got, let's kind of take a look at the hip height here, using baby as kind of an estimate. It's not super high or super low. I find it to be kind of mid-height.
Right.
Lifting up into the back here.
And you can make this a little bit, push this down so you have more depth that you can take advantage of.
And that's usually how you rocked it, right? You had
Absolutely.
this all the way down.
Yes,
Yep.
I had it all the way down.
Yep. And then...
Yeah. And then we took this out.
Yep, we took the cargo thing out while we owned it. Fold the seats down and get a fairly flat load surface that way. So it is a well-packaged hatchback design.
Right.
Yeah, just a little bit tighter.
Right.
And then heading on over to the Equinox. Power lift gate. That's something that you're going to come to appreciate once you're loading things in there.
I already love it.
You already like it? Yep. That's a big jump there. And then the load surface is actually lower. So I don't know.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
if you're
better.
lifting the stroller up into here, it's I don't have exact inches. Maybe I can put them up on the screen here, but it is different.
I did the arm test.
Yeah.
So I was able at this
Mm-hmm.
to touch the back of the seats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like the length of my arm.
Yeah.
This, I've got a whole other foot.
Yep.
So it's way more cargo space and depth. We could easily fit a stroller and then some groceries in the back here.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
you do still have the underfloor situation going on here. So we've got a Chevy Charger down there. And technically speaking, you can drop this down similar to the Bolt.
Oh, that's interesting.
And have just a little bit more space.
It's got about a foot of an incline as well, too.
Yep.
in
So they
depth.
gave you the higher one in case you want a perfectly flat surface, say if you wanted to camp in here or something.
Sure.
And then this lower one if you want just that little bit more space. Holding these down, we can see they're both 60-40 split. And yeah, good amount of cargo, hatchbacky sort of space here.
Not super flat, but I mean, it's fine.
Right. And then yeah, if you were to kind of pop it back up like this, it would be slightly flatter. But
There
yeah,
you go.
still up
That's
there,
great.
you still got that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Back seats?
Back seats. Let's do the Equinox. Flip out handles on the Equinox. See this Panda interior?
I love the interior.
Now Alyssa is 5'2", and the seat is set up her way, but you can see how much space I have as a 5'10" person. And that seat was pretty much all the way back, and you can see she still has plenty of room. And flip down this armrest. Squishy, grippy. It's kind of surprising to see at this more entry-level price point. Any adjustable recline?
It does not recline.
Okay, all right, just one height. This Convenience Pack 2 model does get rear heated seats, and we've got 2 USB-C ports and air vents. The windows go, oh, it's not on, so we can't tell.
I will say, and this is just from pregnant lady standpoint, I'm uncomfortable.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I need, at this stage anyways, 37 weeks, I need to recline a lot more in order to be fully comfortable. So, but
I'm comfortable.
that's good. But at this stage, a lot of times I am uncomfortable. So
Right.
take that with a grain of salt then.
You can see how much space there is, though, for any sort of person or rear-facing car seat, as we're going to have soon. And speaking of that, the latch anchors are right here with flip-up plastic holders, and you get those right in there. You see the bolts in a moment here are quite different. And it is a wider vehicle, so if we were putting another adult right here, they would have a little bit extra space, whereas the bolt's going to be a little bit tighter than we see in a moment.
It would be difficult to put a rear-facing car seat in the middle here, though, right?
We think so. It depends on how flat this could be, and there aren't any latch anchors.
Right.
However, you could go seatbelt, likely, which you cannot do in the Bolt.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're not able to use the inside.
I don't think you're supposed to.
You don't think so? We obviously know nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
We'll
totally
learn
ready
soon.
to be parents.
yeah.
All right, to the Bolt. Oh, and you can see the little flat splashes of color in here as well. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
The doors could open a bit wider. I wonder if that'll be an issue at all when we're loading rear-facing car seat in. I mean, I could just compare it to some other vehicles.
Like a van?
Well, no, some conventional vehicles also have more 90-degree opening doors. Very easy to put the Bolt seats up. Looks like a technician has left his pick here. That's good. Move that up front. And coming in, we have the dark blue interior. You might be able to barely tell on camera. Ooh, the rear seat's much higher.
Let's see.
Kind of sit almost stadium style.
Ooh.
Me at 5'10", my head is actually just about hitting the top. Man, I didn't realize how much tighter it is.
Yeah.
Legroom is not bad. They really optimize the space well in the Bolt. But yeah, headroom definitely more tight. I can't sit fully to the side.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But we still got the flip down armrest with the grippy cup holders, and actually a little bit more room in the center seat than I realized.
I think we do, yeah.
Yeah. No air vents, however.
No air vent. The rear seats in the Equinox are contoured so much more than this. This bench is more bench.
Yeah.
It's very flat, so putting it back and looking at this.
Yeah.
This is wider, it seems, and flatter than what you have in the Equinox. It's, yeah.
I'm sitting very upright also.
That too, same.
Yeah. And then taking a look at these latch anchors, they're hidden under here, way down deep. You just kind of know, stick your fingers in there and access them. So a little bit tougher to get those in and out.
I think that's more geared towards a family car.
Absolutely. Yeah, these back seats were fine. I mean, we've had 4 adults in here, and they are heated, one stage heated, but yeah, not as comfortable. To the front. One thing to note getting in the front is that the Bolt has conventional handles with a button to lock and unlock it. No kind of touch sensor, for better or for worse. Some people kind of appreciate that.
I actually really liked how simple that was.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. And then getting in, we've got on this Premier package at least, we have 2-way lumbar adjustment and then 8-way driver adjust seat, manual steering wheel. Is it bringing you back a little bit?
Yes. Very much, yes. Yeah. I already want to get in here and adjust my seat.
Yeah, no memory seats as an option.
No memory seats, and I can feel the thing rotating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let Alyssa get comfortable. I'll head on over to the passenger seat. You want to push the button and start it up. Something you don't have to do in the Equinox.
No.
Just get a slight bit of air going on us here. And a few things that I appreciated in the Bolt. Nice physical climate controls, the ability to manually turn on or off the AC and heat. A little bit of an EV nerd situation there, but I like having it. However, this was always annoying. No way to adjust where the air is flowing without pressing the climate button and then making sure there that it's on the panel. Also, only single stage climate control in this Premier model, no dual. So we had to agree upon a temperature. However, we do have heated and ventilated seats. Then we see in this infotainment screen built nicely into the center console, Apple CarPlay coming up still.
Yes.
Yep, something that worked very, very well. There's only one time in our ownership of the vehicle, the only issue we ever had, where you got in and for some reason your phone entirely wouldn't connect.
Correct.
You had to kind of, unpair and repair or something like that?
That happened a couple of different times, and I did have to unpair and repair, and it was frustrating.
Okay.
And I had to be completely stopped in order to fix it, and I'm driving home after a day's work in rush hour, and I'm like, I just need to listen to my music. That's all.
Looking at the center console area, definitely narrower, but functional cup holders, the shifter right down here. Mm-hmm. I didn't mind the shifter layout. However, it does take up a decent amount of space, and I didn't like how reverse and drive had the same directional action. Mm-hmm. I felt that they should be separate because you could accidentally press one thinking you're doing the other.
Right.
Yep. And then wireless device charger down here, a little bit of under storage where you used to put flip-flops.
Yes.
Passenger seat does have manual controls, but at least you could adjust the height of the seat. That was nice. And then center console, functional, conventional, tight, but it works. Mm-hmm. Real volume knob, no track adjustment, although this kind of function is that. This is sort of a silly kind of manual move yourself around the infotainment screen. We never used it.
I actually never knew that it did that.
Yep. No built-in navigation, so you had to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but overall pretty functional infotainment screen. And then a gauge cluster that shows you kind of the information you need and not too much else. Shows you your power, your speed, your range, a few different customizable modes, all controlled from physical controls on the steering wheel. Do we have... Yes, these do extend, but not quite all the way. And the camera rear view mirror on this Premier model.
I love a camera rear view mirror.
Yeah, you really got used to that.
I really did. At first, I was like, "Why? Don't fix what isn't broken." And then I got one and started using it, and I was like, "Oh, this is great."
All right, let's head over to the
Equinox.
Now, coming over to the Equinox, you can see it's got these fold-in handles that theoretically are a little bit more aerodynamic. However, before we get in, I'm curious. Okay, well, it was already unlocked. What happens if we lock it? Can you unlock from the back? No. Okay, but front's open, so Alyssa can hop in. We see 4-way lumbar adjustment, but other than that, similar seat controls and driver's seat memory, which has been nice for both of us driving, because 1 and 2. However, only one window is automatic in this car, and I believe, if I remember
it's
correctly,
mine.
The Bolt.
All 4 of those are automatic. Actually, no.
Yes, was auto in both the front driver and passenger windows. Equinox only auto on the driver. Find that interesting. But you can see Alyssa kind of settled in here. Again, steering wheel, tilt telescope, but manual. Thicker steering wheel, we both noticed.
Very much.
Yep.
Yeah.
The whole car is chunkier. Everything about the Equinox is much more American. Big heavy doors. Very solid thud. And then coming in, we opted for this very cool white and blue leather color scheme. This is technically Ecotex or fake leather, but yeah, let's start it up. Push your foot on the brake, get some air going here. Everything comes to life. We've got dual zone climate control, still physically controlled down here, at least for fan, auto, defrost, on and off, and then temperature. We've got physical volume knob, like having that. And then this giant Android Automotive-based infotainment system with no support for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And what frustrates me is that GM puts this system in their gasoline cars, same exact system, but it does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So they intentionally take it out of the electric vehicles. They say it's so that you can use the built-in navigation and have it do things like show you what your battery percentage would be and help you navigate toward chargers efficiently and everything. And it does work well. However, just give us the option. I know your system supports it, so why take it away from us? To me, it's a matter of greed, because what's going to happen is in a month, we're going to lose our premium data subscription here, and we're going to have to pay monthly in order to keep access to all of the different apps in here, because Alyssa's been using YouTube Music, and we've got Waze going, and we've got the Google Maps and everything, Amazon Music. So in order for us to access all those, we're going to have to pay General Motors monthly. And so I know it's a greed thing. They're trying to say that it's a functionality thing, but frustrating to me.
It's money.
It's money. However, other things around the cabin. Ooh.
That actually fully extends.
Yeah, a little bit closer there. Very nice to see.
Covers the entire thing. There was about this much of a gap in the Bolt there. That actually would always get me.
What else? Larger center console area. This is interesting, though. This only flips toward Alyssa.
Yeah.
So for me, I've got to get way in there. We kind of see similar width, similar depth.
Only for me.
Only for you. A little bit bigger cup holders, and they've got grippers on them.
I do like this. I like this little slot here.
Yeah, you've been kind of putting your phone.
I put my phone there, and it doesn't really seem to move the way how I'm driving.
Okay.
Especially if you put it at that little angle there. It doesn't really move too much.
And then we've got wireless device charger down there. It's going to be tough for you all to be seeing this in this bright sunlight, but we've got center console storage down there. You've got your purse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like putting my purse down there.
Camera rear view mirror in the convenience package too, as well as heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, and this one does have the sunroof. All right, anything else before we go for a drive?
I don't know. I don't think so.
All right. Well,
Shall we?
Yeah, let's start with the Bolt.
Okay.
In order to shut this one off, you simply get out and it shuts off for you. Neither of these have functional frunks. So for people who are used to having a frunk in maybe something like Tesla or another EV, not getting that here with the Bolt or the Equinox. All right, let's go for a little drive. 259 miles right now is what the car estimates we can get. And the Bolt always did this cool thing where you see max and min ranges as well as kind of your estimated average.
We should talk about how I'm in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have my foot on any pedal,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fully stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And comparatively,
You're right.
in the Equinox, you still have to use the full brake when you are in reverse.
Even with one pedal driving mode on.
Absolutely.
Which is
yes.
frustrating to me because it'll stop going forward, but it won't stop going backward.
It will not stop going backward. And I learned that the first time I drove it. I was like, why? I'm in reverse and it's like one pedal driving is not working and I do not have my foot on any pedal.
Yeah.
And it just kept going. And so I was like, oh.
Frustrating.
Yeah. Put my foot on the brake and it like stopped abruptly. And I was like, oh, don't like that.
Both of these do have 360 cameras. That was something that we wanted to get with the Equinox as well. And I've noticed in the Equinox, or in the Bolt, you hear the electric motor noise a little bit more. Just kind of a general whirring. It's not a fake noise or anything, it's just the mechanical sound of the electric motor.
In the Bolt or the Equinox?
In the Bolt. How's it feel being back in the golf cart?
Yeah. It's like I never left almost. So that's kind of fun.
Now we've kind of compared the driving between the two of them as this one's more like a golf cart, Equinox a little more like a spaceship.
Yeah. Very
Bigger,
much so.
heavier. The Bolt is actually 1,000 pounds lighter and makes more torque.
Yeah.
So it's quite a bit quicker.
Yeah. Very golf karty, very quick and eager. It's like, I don't know what to equate it to. Like you're driving something that's like, yeah, let's go guys. We want to be like going.
It's a scrappy little dog.
Yeah. Yes. That's a great way to put it. Scrappy little dog. Very eager, easy to drive, fun to drive, happy to be driven.
Something that I think you and I have both appreciated with the car were these upper level air vents right here.
Yeah.
That kind of come at your face in a nice way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that is a direct comparison between the Bolt and the Equinox, this air vent over here, it's blocked by the steering wheel quite a bit. And the other one, the Equinox, it's very much separated from the steering wheel. So you will still feel that air coming at your body, not just your hand, which I do like.
Something else I've noticed about the ergonomics between the two cars is the screen's easier to reach in this car. It's a smaller screen, but you, even as a small lady, you're not really having to lean forward off of your seat in order to get up and touch things.
Yeah. With the Equinox and with this big belly in the way, you'll see that one.
Heave.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, getting me behind the wheel. I have to manually put the seat down. And again, just mentioning that we both understand that Equinox is a $15,000 more expensive car. So some of those features are going to be more expected at that price point. But it's at least worth pointing them out if you're somebody who's in a Bolt right now and considering going to an Equinox. Or maybe you're trying to purchase one or the other and wondering if it's worth saving money and going with the Bolt. Because something like this one's $27,000 or so as listed. And a little bit more miles, you're getting them even lower. So something to consider. I have always liked the driving position though in the Bolt. It's a small steering wheel, it's thin, you feel engaged. As Alyssa said earlier, you see the road right in front of you.
I do like that about cars.
Yeah. One pedal drive works well.
It works so well. Lots of get up and go.
Oh yeah.
It's very peppy.
266 pound-feet of torque from this little one. They 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, which is pretty crazy for a just kind of a standard economy car.
Yeah.
I mean, that's speedy numbers.
I think one of your YouTube watchers called it a stoplight sleeper.
Ah.
Is that the right term?
Sure. Yeah. over the course of ownership with this car, we averaged 4 miles per kilowatt hour. So part of that is due to Alyssa's particularly efficient driving, but also just the nature of a lighter EV that's not very large and has pretty thin tires and it's fairly efficient. So that, in Tesla watt-hour speak, that's 250 watt-hours per mile. It's a very good figure. However, the Equinox is quieter on the highway, and we're not going to be doing any highway driving today, but you might even just notice it, kind of the driving around noise, that it's just, the Bolt is not as refined, not as quiet.
Right.
And it's a springier suspension, so a little bit faster rebound. It doesn't kind of wallow and
No
cushion
dampening.
bumps.
Yeah.
It doesn't dampen them the same way. The Bolt's a little bit sprightlier.
Yeah. In that regard, go-karty.
Yeah, go-karting. It's arguably more fun to drive, but not as refined and comfortable.
Right.
One thing that I hesitated to tell you about because I don't want you to be able, not be able to unsee it sort of thing, but the Bolt has a nice dark, non-reflective instrument panel right here, and it doesn't reflect at all on the windshield. The Equinox, as we'll see, does have some reflection to it, and it's a little bit frustrating for some people.
That's actually when you brought it over for me to test drive. That was one of the first things I realized and recognized about it, that the screen was very reflective compared to what I was used to.
Some people have made such a big deal about it that I think GM might start offering some carpeting up there or something.
Yeah.
To sort of dampen that down, because it's pretty frustrating for some people.
Yeah.
But no, I always liked driving the Bolt, even though it didn't necessarily feel like some other cars of the price point from a refinement perspective. I just enjoyed it, ever since driving the very first one back in 2017 and all the way up until now with this EUV model and then the normal EV. Ergonomics are good, and driving, like I said, if a little bit unrefined, was fun. Fun and satisfying. Shall we?
We shall.
I will say, this part of the seat in the Bolt is hard plastic, and even after 12,000 miles, the bolstering right here is not particularly comfortable, and I would find getting in and out of it that I sometimes kind of sit on that hard plastic.
Yeah.
We're both not very large people, so the width of the seat and overall comfort was never a big deal to us. We also weren't exactly taking long road trips in the car, but the Equinox does have a more comfortable seat to get in and out of. It does still have this hard plastic area, but the bolstering is a little bit more supported.
Right. And it is easier for me to get in and out of this car compared to the Bolt as I am right now.
Okay, good to know. Oh yeah, these seats are much more comfortable.
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah. A little bit more difficult to get into sport mode in this car, though. You have to use the touchscreen and press drive modes, whereas in the Bolt you had just one little sport button, and you appreciated when you wanted it, you could just tap it and have that.
And I did that so often.
Accelerator response.
I did that so often. Pretty much any time I was driving it, and I would just lean forward just a tad bit.
Yeah.
Press it, and stoplight sleeper.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Column shifter.
I will say, I really did like the shifter in the Bolt.
Okay.
I did like that. And I had only been switched up between the reverse and the drive shifters like a couple of different times.
Sure.
And then it's like a quick, oh, my bad. And then press the right button and it's fine.
You just don't mat the accelerator as soon as you get in and you'll be fine.
Yeah. And you really don't if you're used to one pedal driving anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I am. I just feel so much further away.
Wait, before we get going, point out the reverse thing.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay, so I'm in drive mode right now.
Yep.
Foot is off all pedals. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, so even though one pedal driving is on,
I have no foot on any pedal.
Yep.
We're in reverse.
And then put it in drive.
Foot off.
Yeah.
We're standstill.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit of a cognitive dissonance there.
Yeah. Auto hold is back on.
That's weird.
Okay. Shall we?
Yeah. So already, much quieter.
Yeah. And you can hear the fake whirring.
Right. All you hear is the fake whirring. You don't hear the drive motor at all. Well, maybe you do slightly, but not nearly as much as you do in the Bolt.
Right. That was with the pedal all the way down.
So it's definitely more of a gradual. It doesn't just go 0 to 100. There's a little bit of a smooth ramp up in power.
Yeah.
It's a little jumpier in sport mode, but still not to the effect of the Bolt, even in normal mode.
Right. Oh, and my head-up display's on.
Yes, this one has a head-up display, something that was not an option on the Bolt.
Mm-hmm. Which I do really like. I like that a lot, the head-up display.
Cool.
And it also has the driving directions if I have something on in Google Maps.
So like we said, the Equinox, a little bit more spaceshipy feeling. It's much more spread out in here. You're sitting a little bit lower. Definitely can't see right up in front of you as easily.
No.
You feel like you're more piloting a vehicle rather than commanding a vehicle.
That's such a great way to say that. Yeah. Yep. I would agree with that.
And this feels like a much more expensive car. I mean, it is a much more expensive car, but it feels it.
It translates to it, yeah. It's such a bigger car to drive, too. And I don't think I'm quite used to that just yet. So my surrounding area, I feel like I need to have way more. And I do, because it's larger. But I need to have way more space between me and surrounding objects than I'm used to.
I mean, we've even noticed that parking in our driveway, a place where the Bolt was very easy to just get in and out next to my truck, and this, you got to be a lot more careful pulling in and out, and it's not as easy for us to get in because the vehicle itself is wider and the doors are longer, so it's tough for the passenger to get in and out.
Right.
So that's something to consider if you do own a Bolt, you're considering upgrading. Maybe take an Equinox EV home and make sure it fits in your garage or your parking space.
Right, yeah. Because it is so... The Bolt just will fit absolutely anywhere.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I really liked about it. I tend to like much smaller cars because it's just, I'm a smaller person. I'm used to that kind of, and I don't know, just spatial surrounding.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't like how when I get into the Equinox, it beeps all of those times. I'd like to turn that off if I can.
Oh, yeah, the Bolt really doesn't beep at all.
The Bolt makes almost no noises. And this being a more advanced version of the Bolt, it makes so many beeps all the time. And I just want to turn them all off and don't communicate to me. I know what I'm doing. I'm a good driver. Like, why do you need to beep at me when I come into... Yes, I know you're on. Thank you.
I think it's probably because your seatbelt's not on, but it is annoying.
It is that.
That,
but
like,
if I could turn that off, I will.
Totally.
Yeah. Ah!
Now, with me getting in to the driver's seat, I can simply press and hold button number 2. It brings me to my position. One thing I do want to point out before forgetting is that the Bolt has a much better sound system, and that's even just the base Bolt to the Equinox.
Wow.
The Bolt also had an upgradable Bose sound system that was not fantastic, but it added a subwoofer and a little bit of extra life to the system and gave it a little punch. The Equinox EV does not have an upgradable sound system option, and that's frustrating to me because this is a very bad sound system. And I'm disappointed, and we're definitely going to have to look into some sort of upgrade for it because it's unacceptable in my eyes. And I remember the very first time I drove the Equinox EV last year, I said that was its Achilles heel, is the sound system. It's quite unfortunate.
Well, I think that also speaks to the kind of driver that they're trying to pander these vehicles to.
Someone who doesn't enjoy music?
Someone who's maybe thinking less about what kind of music they're going to listen to because they've got kids in the back seat.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas in the Bolt, it's a fun car to drive. You want to have the music on. You want to have your windows down. You want to go cruising down, you know, your street and everything and have a good time, a good fun experience. It's more about selling fun. This car is more about selling safety, convenience, comfort, ease. Two very different types of people would be driving, or two very different stages of life. You would be driving the Bolt versus the Equinox.
And I get that. It's just, it's frustrating to me to have it be so woeful and no option to pay more and upgrade that.
And I understand. You are the sound guy.
Right. In terms of efficiency, we've only put 230 miles on the car, so it's not an apples-to-apples comparison. EPA numbers are not that drastically different. However, the city numbers are pretty different. And a big part of that's because you're moving an extra 1,000 pounds every time you accelerate and decelerate with this car. However, it does have a significantly larger battery, so the range, the overall range you could do, especially at highway speeds, is going to be quite a bit higher. This one, 319 EPA mixed driving range, Bolt's 238.
Wow.
And on top of that, and arguably more importantly in my eyes, if you're anyone who takes trips, is the charging speeds. The Bolt maxed out at 50 kilowatts of DC fast charging. This is more toward 150, or it might even be 170 if I'm not mistaken. Now, I understand the Equinox EV isn't the most aggressive charging curve, so it's still not going to charge as quickly as some of the more expensive electric vehicles in this class. However, if you're going from the Bolt, that was something where if you're taking a road trip, you're doing about 2 to 2.5 hours of driving and then stopping for about an hour or so to charge. This, you're doing 3.5 hours of driving and then stopping for only maybe 45 minutes to charge. So those numbers are much more dramatically in your favor of getting somewhere economically than the Bolts. However, if you're like us and you rarely road trip with the vehicle and you're just using it as a daily driver, you're going to spend less money on electricity with the Bolt. Now, it's not a drastic amount, but still something to consider. So, Alyssa, after a year and a half with the Bolt EUV and a week with the Equinox EV, which do you prefer?
I'm gonna have to go with the Equinox. I really am. It's comfy. It's fun to drive. It's calming to drive. I've noticed that my driving personality has changed almost a complete 180 between the two different cars. Driving the Bolt, I very much am like, yeah, let's get up and go and let's drive a little bit faster than I maybe should, and let's do things a little bit more sporty and fun, and let's get in front of other people, and let's be a little bit more of an aggressive driver. And in this one, I just want to cruise. I want to go soft and slow and take my time and not worry about anything. And it's very interesting to me to notice that change in myself, that a car can command based on how it's made and how it's made to drive. Very interesting. And I do appreciate that softening, that calming effect that it has on me. So
what I'm hearing is that it's not BMW drivers' fault that they drive the way they do. It's simply their cars.
You know, I do think that there is an element to that, because the car is going to dictate how you drive in addition to how you want to drive.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Well, I'm glad we got you in the more comfortable, calming mommy mobile, and outside of the spunky little single professional woman, not
Yes.
single, but without kids, dual
Yes.
income, no kids, mommy mobile.
Yeah.
Over there, professional woman mobile.
Yeah.
Let's hop out and take one last look at each of them. Yeah, overall, I have to agree. I mean, not looking at the MSRP of the two vehicles, I prefer driving the Equinox as well, and overall prefer owning it. It's got a little bit more of an advanced application, the phone app that you can control things with. I prefer being behind the wheel for longer extended road trips and highway driving. I should also point out that if you got Super Cruise on both of these, it would be a more advanced Super Cruise on the Equinox, capable of changing lanes automatically. The Bolt's a little bit simpler, but I did really like the Bolt. I still do, and it is kind of crazy that you can pick one of these up still within a degree of warranty and have it cost well under $20,000 and get a car that really comes with a lot of features and is great for one person, two people, maybe even three with a child, and just being a little bit more selective.
Right.
So if you could get a competitive deal like we did, I definitely see the argument to upgrading to the Equinox. However, if it had not made such strong financial sense to us, we would have stuck with the Bolt.
And I would have stuck with the Bolt when
Yeah.
for another 5 years.
Right.
Is what I said when we bought it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that would be us right now. We would still be Bolt owners, except, like Charlie said, they make it very financially savvy for you to upgrade.
Yeah, GM's trying to move these right now, so highly recommend checking out what you might be eligible for. If you're in the general California area, give Guaranty Chevy a call. Hit up Gary. Gary hooked us up with this one, got us some pretty amazing numbers. If you want to see those broken down, check the link below for my numbers video on the Equinox EV. Any final thoughts? Yeah.
I'm all set.
All right, 2 years to go with the Equinox, and we'll see if we end up missing it. So stay tuned, subscribe, and check the playlist for our updated ownership videos. Depending on when you're seeing this, we might have some ownership updates on the Equinox already. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie and Alyssa from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.